What up, traders? So I just wanted to show this AUDUSD pair as a really good example of an advanced breakout and how to kind of manage it. Um, some ideas that I'm going to be playing around with. So as you guys know, I've already got my own strategy with the pyramid reversal strategy, but I also have been using Irek Piekarski's framework over the past, I'm going to say, week or so, couple weeks. Um, One of the guys that I actually look up to and think that you really has a solid approach to the markets. So I'm going to be using some of his stuff and some of my own stuff to kind of combine strategies. So please keep in mind that this is me doing me. It's not necessarily what I advise. I advise you learn each strategy separately, practice it a thousand times before you actually get to where you're comfortable mixing and matching, finding something that works for you. But I'm going to give you an example of that right now. So on this move, this pullback play, first I want to see if I can remove some of this stuff so y'all can't see it. Yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, so one of the first things that I used to do with pyramid reversal strategy, easy. You guys can go back and look at some of the old videos if you aren't familiar. But just pivot lines. Pivot lines on a daily chart, on a, I'm sorry, 1 hour chart intraday. And playing this pullback. And I'm looking for a situation where the pivot and the 50 MA combine as far as lineup almost perfectly. So I saw this one is iffy at best, but according to Eric's, it's an actual possible entry. This is cleaner, and see how it just rests on that 50 EMA, and then we got the pivot. So my pivot would actually act as guidance for me to get in right there. Maybe right here would be another good one. So I used to go through these and just kind of mark them as, hey, let me look at that and see how that played out. Obviously, the plays at the beginning of the trend change are the ones that you want to pick out. The problem with that is whenever it's actually happening in real time, you don't know that it's the actual beginning of a trend change. You have some hints towards that, but you don't have anything that's concrete. There's no real evidence. So in this situation, there was a run up and a pullback, and that pullback offered a couple of entry levels. So let's look at that. So if I do it like this, I'm going to see that the 382, which is this red line, is actually corresponding with the pivot almost. So that's why my entry is actually a little bit lower at the pivot. And I took that as a possible entry. Okay. And then if we look at the rest of the fib levels, you're going to notice that 0.75 corresponds with the support area. So true to the way I used to trade, I'm going to go ahead and put it below that. And also, this first move is usually very volatile as you get in and as it stair steps up. And I know that. I know that it's not going to be the cleanest play. This is probably the cleanest play, the second pullback, right? The first pullback is kind of a lottery ticket, to be honest. And that's also where you can get a better situation where your stop loss is out of the way. The problem with it is the volatility. There's going to be a lot of movement there. There's going to be a lot of bleeding probably, and you just got to kind of, hope that you actually pick the beginning of that move. So since we had this coming down, we had some stagnation, we had this pull up, and then a pull back. I can guess that this might be the beginning of a trend. In doing so, now the Irek Piekarski way of doing this is going to be, let me draw a fib extension, okay, in order to figure out where my profit target is. Okay, 618 right here. So it would actually be lower than where I've got drawn in right now. The modification that I want to make on this is actually using this 50 EMA as a guidepost. So instead of saying, all right, I'm going to hit the 618 level, I'm actually going to use the 50 EMA to see whenever it breaks. If it breaks that 50 EMA, I'll think about getting out. If not, then I'm going to go ahead and try to ride this up. Again, playing the benefit of the lottery ticket here, which is I'm in early on this move. I can combo off of this move, so I would add to that position right here. And I can also, even if it does break that 50 EMA later on in the game, if I do get out, I actually am still, winning by quite a bit more than I would be if I would have just stopped at the 618, which is a more traditional profit target um, situation. So, and when I say break the 50 EMA, I don't just mean the wick, I mean the actual body of the candle. So keep that in mind. The body of the candle does not, from this move up past the 50 EMA, so the initial move, until pretty much the end, we're still in it. We would still be in this trade, honestly. And so the 50 EMA never got broke by the candle's body, except for right here. Actually, I'm sorry, so I lied. So if we stopped right here, even looking at more conservative target, and this is the doji, so that's actually showing me that we're going to continue higher if I'm paying attention. But let's say that I'm not. I still made 2% on this trade. If I have a little bit more risk tolerance, maybe I wait, flirt with a different type of management technique, and stay in this. If I do stay in this until where we are right now and beyond, we're looking at a huge move here. This is 6.8% move, which is crazy, but it's not as crazy when it comes to how we got there. So it's very basic, very plain and simple. This is how I combine some of this stuff that I learned from using fibs to kind of predict whenever we're going to actually trigger an entry. Combine that with the pyramid reversal strategy. On top of that, I'm using the 50 EMA. And this is all on the 1 hour chart. This isn't even me taking into consideration the 4 hour or some of the higher time frames. Obviously, I've already done my homework to see that makes sense. But just analyzing the 1 hour chart, which is where I like to place entries on, we kind of came up with all these ideas, all this opportunity for comboing the trade, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, guys, hit me in the comment section. Let me know if you have any questions. If you do, happy to answer. But yeah, I think this might be a bit of a breakthrough on simplifying the trade management aspect of taking that initial entry, that breakout entry. All right, peace.